Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome one and all to another one of my live streams. My name is Gareth Wax of Many Purple Hats, and today in the studio I have one of my clients, Richard Pendry of the Risk Consultancy. He is an accomplished risk analyst. He will identify and help people and business avoid pitfalls and crevasses they could otherwise capsize straight headlong into by identifying them way ahead of time and advising. But also he works with businesses and people all over the world to help them in these regards. Richard, welcome.
Thank you, Gareth.
Not at all.
Yeah, Friday afternoon came round very quick. Can I just tell you, I'm really excited today, Gareth, because I've just received my new diary for next year. It's completely empty, right? I love to write things down. This is an example of my diary for this year. And what I do, I make my lists, and then when I've done it, I highlight it off, and So I've got this exciting empty book that by this time next year is going to be filled with amazing stuff. Yeah, amazing stuff. And this pen, I love writing with this fountain pen. My father gave me this pen as a Christmas present. He passed away in 1994. It's a Montblanc pen. Yeah, lovely. I love to write with it. I love to write with the fountain pen, and it is now 40 years old. This pen. But there we are.
It's like me. It's an antique. Delightful.
Yeah. Just mature with age, don't we?
That's it. All right.
Absolutely.
Now look, we've covered a number of topics to do with risk analysis and also examples of identification, how they prevent problems, and all of it. And today you wanted to talk more about risk itself, but with a real positive spin. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, within the discipline of risk management, we tend to look at it through a negative, through a negative lens. I mean, so for example, last week we were talking about personal security and the heightened risk of attacks in our environment because of things that are happening, in other parts of the world. And unfortunately, last weekend this realized itself in Paris, where one individual was killed and two people were injured because of, a terrorist incident. So today I want to talk about risk, but I wanted to put a little bit more of bit of a positive spin, because when we look at the sort of definition of risk, and it's like so many things out there. There are so many definitions of risk, and through the security lens, we tend to look at it as a negative event. Okay, negative event, risk. The occurrence of risk is negativity. There's a better definition of risk, which is used by the International Standards Organization, ISO, in 31000, which is one of their audit criteria. And it's defined as the effect of uncertainty on objectives. And that's a bit more positive. Yeah, that's a bit more positive. So let's talk about risk at the moment as the fifth part of the security risk assessment process. Okay, let's get that out of the way, and then let's come back to this positive aspect of risk. How does that sound?
It sounds ideal. I would like to leave this with a feeling of optimism. So if you can manufacture that for me, I'm there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's put this in context of the other sort of podcasts that we've done over the last few months, actually, and we do a regular one on a Friday. So if anybody's out there and they're listening, thanks for tuning in again. Right, the first part of the process, just to do a little bit of a recap, we talked about first part, asset identification. What are the things that are of value to your organization that you want to protect? And people, processes, all these things that are important to your organization. You have to identify them to understand, to identify the important things within your organization.
Right.
We then go to stage 2, okay, which is threat identification, identifying the dangers within your operational environment that can impact on the assets. The third stage was vulnerability. How exposed are the assets that you've identified to the actual dangers that you've analyzed within your operational environment? And then we looked at likelihood and impact. What is the likelihood, okay, of the risk, the threats occurring? And if they did occur, what would the impact be on your business, on you as an individual or your organization? And
right.
from that process, okay, especially the last part of likelihood and impact, we were able to come up with a risk calculation, because we need to remember that we identify a threat, but we calculate the risk.
Right.
Yeah. Are you with me so far?
I am. It's you're actually putting a figure effectively to it.
Yeah, you put in a figure to it. You're able to quantify it. You and it's easier to. I mean, we can use terms such as low risk, moderate, substantial, severe, critical. But or we can put a number to it. Yeah, so we can put we can use we can also put a percentage in there when we're talking about impact and stuff like that and likelihood. But what the process is that you come up with something that you can identify and say, yeah, that we have now calculated the risk.
All right.
Okay. So when you're going to say so. Okay. So we've like
no. I was itching my head in thought.
Okay. So the next question is what you should have jumped in with, Gareth, is right. So what are we going to do? Okay.
So
what are we going to do?
Hang on. I'll do it on cue. So Richard, what are we going to do?
Yeah. So we've got our risk calculation. So what are we going to do with that risk calculation? There's a really nice little sort of acronym that we can use. It's called TEAMS. TEAMS. Okay. So if we've calculated so let's say, for instance, we have calculated our risk at critical, okay, which is one extreme. We've got low at the one side,
low at one end, critical at the other. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're the logical extreme.
Yeah, and moderate, substantial, severe, or critical. So we've calculated based on the likelihood and impact of this occurrence that the risk is going to be critical for the organization. Okay. So what we can do using TEAMS, we can transfer the risk. We can transfer it out to an insurance company, for example.
Oh, I see. So you're using an external resource to mitigate it in a way.
Yeah. So if anything happened, then you get the money. Okay, fair enough. We can eliminate the risk.
Right. That's completely obviate it so that we're not even there.
We're not even doing it. The risk is too much. Okay, we're not going to do it. We can accept the risk. We can accept the risk calculation. We can say, yeah, okay, that's fair enough. We will accept that. We will go forward with that particular calculation of risk. We can mitigate it, which is the M part. We'll come back to mitigation in a little bit. Okay. Let's talk about S. We can share the risk. We can share the risk with other organization, with a department within our organization, or with another company. Okay. But let's go back to M. And M is for mitigation. Right. Mitigation. What can we do to mitigate, to reduce the level from critical or severe down to low, moderate, something that is, we can accept. Maybe it's on, maybe the asset you're trying to protect are personnel. You bring it down to a low or moderate because you're providing then a duty of care to those people. So if we're looking in a domestic type of environment and you were worried about the safety and security of your house, you might want to install a burglar alarm, right? Better locks, get a dog. Okay, all those things will make your domestic dwelling a lot safer. If we're talking about security for within organizations, we might want to, especially with the Christmas lockdown coming, you might want to enhance your security with extra security guards, with CCTV, things like that. You're beefing up your security to reduce the level of risk. When we talk about from the financial point of view, when we look at it from a financial point of view as well, are the things that we are doing too risky for the desired outcome? Yeah. So that TEAMS acronym is something that we can use.
Run it through again. Just do it letter by letter.
T is for transfer.
T is for transfer.
E is for eliminate. Just don't do it. Yeah. A is for accept.
Accept.
M is for mitigate.
Right.
And S is for share. TEAMS.
Okay, cool.
And if anybody wants to talk to me about this, remember, you can go onto my LinkedIn profile, and just under the on the header there, it's get in touch, and you can book a call with me, 30-minute call. No obligation. It's free, just to have a chat. Just to put you mind at rest as you move forward. Especially do it now as we're going into 2024, because it's going to be very busy, very busy. Right. So we've done the technical side of it.
Right.
And let's have a look at the positive spin on risk. So I came across a lady by the name of Freya Stark when I was writing my first book called Damascus Redemption. And Freya Stark was
which is, by the way, a bloody good read if anybody wants to have a thing that has kept me awake for a number of nights and is a bit of a page turner. Damascus Redemption, absolutely.
Yeah, it's been described as Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code meets Andy McNabb's Bravo 20.
It's Da Vinci Code on steroids, basically.
Yeah. Anyway, when I was doing the research for that, I came across this lady who was an explorer in the early 20th century, just after the First World War, a lady called Freya Stark. And she came up with this analogy of risk. And she says it's the salt and sugar of life.
Yes. I mean, risk is, it's almost like eating spicy food as opposed to eating bland food. Bland food is nice and predictable and will do you absolutely no harm at all and will feed you, but it doesn't in no way challenges you. Risk is like spice, chili. It challenges you a little bit. It adds an extra flavor and forces you perhaps to think in ways you wouldn't normally think. And risk is a bit like that. Yeah.
And this, I just want to run through this thing that happened to me yesterday. Yesterday, I was up in Widnes. I live in Cardiff. This is from Cardiff right now. And I had to go to see a client yesterday in Widnes. So I went up on the M5, M6, fine. And then I decided to come through mid Wales on the way back. And maybe not the best choice with the torrential rain that we had yesterday, but I still enjoyed it.
It wasn't very car friendly yesterday, was it?
Yeah, not very car friendly, but the dramatic landscape made up for it. It was amazing. But anyway, I thought to myself, right, I'll just stop off in Brecon. Brecon, just north of my hometown of Merthyr, and about 50 miles from my destination of Cardiff. And I just break the journey. And parked up, went out. There's a pub in, I know Brecon well from being a military guy. Our battle school, the Parachute Regiment Battle School Infantry Division is also, it's located at Daring Line. So I know Brecon very well, as many soldiers do. So I went in and I had a beer, a quick half in the Sarah Siddons, fine, not a problem. Then I walked around the town, and there's a shop on the corner, which I used to frequent quite a lot when I lived in my hometown of Merthyr. I moved out of Merthyr in 2003, 2004. And I used to go to this shop, outdoor gear, lovely, Gore-Tex boots, all that sort of outside stuff. And the guy who owned it was still there. The last time I spoke to him was in 2003, 2004, 20 years ago.
Wow.
20 years ago. and he was still there. And he's a little greyer, as we all are, but he was still there, and his Scottish accent was, clear as a bell. And I had a quick chat with him, and I said, yeah, because I'm moving back to my hometown next year. It's another story. And I said, you'll see a lot more of me, because I like all that outdoor stuff. And I thought to myself, since I've seen him last, the things that I've done and the places that I've been, because I was like him in 2004, 2003, 2004. I had a very successful business. I had a 7-figure turnover, and I had all the things. I had a big house, car, and all the rest of it. And I decided that I wanted to do something different. I took a risk. I got involved with the security industry, and my life went off in a completely different tangent. I could have stayed, could have had a nice, safe life with a 7-figure turnover and a couple of brand new cars on the drive, but I decided to change it. And am I glad I did? Absolutely. But it's not for everybody. These things land in your plate. They're given to you sometimes, these opportunities, and some people will say, yeah, I'll take it and I'll go with it. And other people will say, no. That's risk acceptance. That's risk acceptance.
Yeah, so you've got to accept a certain amount of risk, otherwise you'll never cross the road.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, what is the level of risk that you are willing to accept?
That's the key question, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's
the key question. Some people will accept a high level. I do. My risk acceptance is through the roof. I remember, and this is another story, when they said to me back in 2019, do I want to go off and have a free fall course in Madrid, Spain, all paid for, and all the rest of it? And I went, yeah, okay, I'll go off and do that. So I spent a week free falling in Madrid. But after the first jump, I remembered that I actually don't like parachuting. Never have. So what changed? Nothing had changed. But I went off and I did it.
Why don't you like parachuting?
Military parachuting is hard work. It
comes down hard, doesn't it? It doesn't. You can't.
The thing is, military parachuting is it's the way that we get to work. Okay, so it's low level most of the time. So the aircraft is contouring around, and you've got guys opposite you who are throwing up because of the air sickness, throwing up over you, throwing up over themselves. Then it pops up at the end, doors open, you jump out, you're there. It's hours, okay? It's hours of hard work. Yeah, can be unpleasant, and then you land, and then you get on with it. So some people love it. We have a free fall team in the parachute regiment, the Red Devils, the Red Freds. Guys love it. But yeah, it's not for me. It's a way to get to work. I did it, but yeah, not enjoyable for me. But
you were a paratrooper, for goodness sake.
I was, yeah, I was. But again, it's like I said, it's the way that we went to work. We didn't do it every week. We did it every now and again. But it's acceptance, risk acceptance. I accept that to go and do my job.
Okay. Thank you once again, Richard. Most enjoyable, and I do feel optimistic now. Actually, you did deliver, guys. If you found this interesting, watch out. Richard's got a lot more to give us, and we'll be talking yet more over the coming weeks and months. But for now, I give you Richard Pendry of the Risk Consultancy. Do check him out on LinkedIn, and if you want to know more, you can ask me as well. But I wish you all a happy Christmas, a wonderful New Year. If we don't speak again, I'm sure Rich and I will. But in case you're not on this stream with me, and of course, safe mental health. And goodbye to all. Bye bye.